Here's a quick word from our sponsor.
Vercel is the platform for front-end developers, providing the speed and reliability innovators need to create at the moment of inspiration. Founded by the creators of Next.js, Vercel has zero configuration support for 35 plus front-end frameworks, including SvelteKit. We enable the world's largest brands like Under Armour, eBay, and Nintendo to iterate faster and create quality software. Try out Vercel today to experience the easiest way to use Svelte.
Radio.
Hello, everybody. It's Svelte Radio. I'm back. I'm not sick anymore. No, sorry, it's Kevin.
Sounds like you're sick.
I'm back. I'm joined by my beautiful co-hosts, Brittany and Anthony. And we also have a guest today.
Woohoo.
Hello, Puru.
Hi, Kevin.
Hey.
Welcome.
Long time no see. So, I missed last week. What happened last week? You guys were having a lot of fun,
ago.
Right?
We've slept since then. I think we did.
Oh, I see.
I think it was just Anthony and I, and we just like bantered back and forth for an hour.
Yeah.
And good luck to the editor on that one.
Oh, God. All right. All right. Cool. Well,
fun.
yeah, like I said, I'm not sick anymore. I don't have a weird fever kind of thing. So I'm back. And like I said, we have Puru here, and we're going to talk to him about all of his weird and fun projects that he's been doing. No, they're not really weird. They're mostly just fun and
They're
nice.
amazing, yeah.
Yes. So, Puru, who are you for those that don't know you?
So, hey folks, I'm Puru, and currently I'm a college student, and I've been just writing HTML and CSS and a little bit of PHP on the way, and a lot of a lot of PHP and a lot of Svelte and Angular and React along the way since the last 8 years. And I've been an intern at Cyclists for over 1 year. And in my free time, I just like to learn piano and just try to learn new things on piano. That's
I had no
much.
idea.
Yeah, I didn't know you did piano.
How long have you been playing piano for?
Piano, I would say 1 year, but if you look at all of the time playing, maybe 2 hours. I'm not very good at it.
Right, okay.
All right, yeah.
I feel like that's a crossover that we see a lot with developers, is that they have like some kind of musical history or past. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
Can you expand on how you got started at StackBlitz and what you're doing as an intern there?
So first thing I would like to say at this point that I'm not at Cyclists anymore. So I was an intern. My internship period, it got to an end. The contract ended. So I'm not at Cyclists anymore. And by the way, if there are any Svelte companies out there who want part-time people, please call me. So anyways, I was Cyclists and I was an intern, and I would like to say I was very lucky in getting that because it was through Twitter. I got Cyclists was my second gig ever, and the first one was also through Twitter. And the first one I owe it to actually Svelte Society, whoever tweeted my macOS web idea initially. Maybe it was Kevin. Thank you, man. Thank you.
Maybe it was. Could also have been Sean, if it was the Svelte Society account.
Exactly.
He
Thank you,
retweets a lot
Kevin
of
and
stuff,
Sean.
yeah.
So I got my first gig through that, and second gig was StackBlitz, and I got that through Twitter as well. So on my macOS web thing, basically I just embedded StackBlitz, the code editor itself, as VS Code. So there's a VS Code icon on the dock. You click on it, it opens up the entire source code of the macOS web thing in Svelte right on there. So it feels like you are inside the operating system looking at the code, even though it's just StackBlitz. And that
so this is macOS Web for those that haven't seen it. It's basically a website that looks like the desktop of a Mac computer, kind of. Right?
What's the link again? Can we put that in the show notes?
Sure. It is macOS-web.app. MACOS.
Even has like a booting
dash
sound.
web.app.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I also want to pass on something to you that people have said to me before. I've also said that I feel like I was lucky to get jobs. Like I've gotten jobs through Discord and things like that. But it's not just luck. And you may feel like it's lucky, but it is the work and the things that you are putting out into the world that have gotten that job for you, not just, it's not just luck. Like you're doing a lot of hard work and a lot of good things. So
yeah, so I think a good way of looking at luck is kind of like you're like, I mean, there's luck, but then the more you show things that you've built, the more things that you do, the more chances there are that people can actually find you, right? So it's kind of like manufactured luck in a way. I don't know.
yeah,
Does that
I
make
like
sense?
that. Yep.
Sure, it could be.
This macOS thing is, so it's built in Svelte, but I think originally you built it in React, right? Or it was built in React? I don't remember.
Yes, so I started this in React so it was a very, very cold November evening, and I was so bored. I decided to either build a macOS clone, because at that time macOS Big Sur, which is that macOS in which they redesigned everything, the recent ones.
Oh,
I think Big
no
Sur,
clue.
Big Sur, right?
yeah, that could be. Yeah, that
Yes.
could be the one. Yeah.
Yes. So Big Sur just came out, and oh God, it looks so good. So I just wanted to build something like that, some aesthetic of that. Or I wanted to build my own file manager, which I don't know why I came up with the
That
two
sounds
projects.
hard.
Exactly. And I'm so glad I did not build that. So anyway, so that was the day I was bored, and I started just whipping up some React code. Oh, and by the way, that time I did not know React. So at that time I decided, well, this could be a good opportunity to just learn React. And that's what I did. I started up my code editor. I started writing React code, whenever it errored, I would just learn whatever I was doing wrong, and then go back and start doing it again. So within 10 days, I had the basic animated dock working, and that's it. Only the dock, a wallpaper, and a menu bar, and nothing was functional in the 10 days. Hurrah. And the bundle size, if you would guess, was around 150 kilobytes just for one animated dock. And then I kind of abandoned
Sounds
that
like
project.
React.
Yep. That is React pretty much. Exactly. And after that, I kind of abandoned it because I got bored of that. And 1 month later, I got into a road accident where I was bedridden for like 6 months nonstop. And then again, I
wow.
was bored. Yeah. And then I was bored again. So I just decided, okay, there's this project that I started. Might as well continue working on that. So I took that project and I brushed the dust off of it and started working on it again. For a few things I did, move from Snowpack, which was pretty good, to Vite, which was, okay, Vite is the best. Like, I don't want to hear any
Yeah, it
counter
really
arguments. Vite is the best. Sorry. So I moved
So
to
you
Vite.
moved it to Vite while it was still React.
Yes, React and Vite.
Nice.
Yeah, so I moved it to React and Vite.
I really like the attention to detail on it. I'm just looking at it now because I've looked at it in the past, but I was just playing around, seeing what worked and stuff. And one thing I really found fascinating was you've got the notch thing there, so you can turn the notch on and off and stuff like that.
Oh, where's that? Where's that setting?
If you get to the
Oh,
top,
it's
the top.
yeah, found it.
Because I was trying to find things in it that Puru forgot about. Right, I was like, I'll find something he's forgotten to do, and I thought there's no way he's made this menu work, and it works. I'm like, okay, there's no way he's made this bit of this menu work, and it works. So, okay.
And about the notch, I got a fun detail. So I myself have one of those notch MacBooks. So when I turn on the notch, there are 2 notches on my screen. Can you just imagine how weird that looks?
Yep.
Exactly. So continuing on, I moved it from Snowpack to Vite, and then at one point it was React to just React. And initially I was using, CSS and JS libraries, styled components. Then it just became plain CSS. And at that time,
Kind of sounds like you've you speed run. You've speed run. What's the past
Speed
tense
ran?
of speed running?
I guess.
Speed ran. Speed ran. Yeah. Sorry, my English. Oh,
I guess all of them are wrong.
It sounded. It kind of sounds like you speed ran the React developer experience. Starting off React, realizing the styling situation is hard, So you start using a CSS and JavaScript library, and then you give up on React. No, maybe that's not what happens. But
No, I actually gave up on React. because with React it was just very, very slow. So and at that point I'd built a lot of features. So the amount of features since November had almost like became 10 times. There were 10 times more features than that, and the bundle size was down to just 60 kilobytes. So I was adding more features and reducing the bundle size as much as I could at the same time. And then I got bored of that again, because at that time was when I like fully recovered from injury. So I had more time. So I just left the project, just did a lot of the physical resuscitation work, etc., etc. But then came one August. I still remember the date. 12th August I was at the peak of my boredom. So I decided, okay, I've been trying Svelte for a while. So let's just try rewriting this little macOS thing I have in Svelte. And so I just started copying the components as it is. I just copied the React code as it is, pasted it in the .svelte files, just removed all of the junk. And yeah, it was mostly removing, not adding, which is the best part about Svelte. I just removed all of the junk that I could. I did that with every component, even got rid of some components because I could just move them into their parent components. I didn't even,
right,
because Svelte is so much simpler. You can have more stuff in one component compared to React. And
that's probably true. Yeah, yes. It's not something I really thought about, but yeah.
That's kind of what you talked about in your Svelte Summit talk too, on like how to migrate these React libraries to Svelte, and you showed us like how to just rip code out.
Yeah,
I love it.
Best part about Svelte, just removing code.
Exactly, nice. Best part. Yes, and so I kept doing that, and in 2 days it was finished. In 2 days I had moved the whole thing from React to Svelte, and one thing I have to say, people do these differences like, okay, React is so different, Svelte is so different. The great thing I found about Svelte is that it is similar enough to React that you can just copy the entire code and just delete parts of it rather than doing a complete rewrite. I did not ever feel like I was doing a rewrite, more like just remove the return, remove the function declaration, maybe class name to class, which is the biggest
right thing.
Yeah. That thing. So it never felt like a full rewrite. And in 2 days I was finished and I was about to sleep, and I just thought, okay, let's put it on Twitter. So I just posted this on Twitter. Next day I woke up, 1,000 likes. Lee Robinson had shared it. Svelte Society had shared it. It was on Hacker News. I was like, what the hell happened here?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot it trended on Hacker News as well. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, as far as I remember, it was on number 1 on Hacker News for, I think, 7-8 hours, almost an entire day, which was...
That's pretty cool.
That just reiterates what I said. Like, you put your work out there and it was public and open source and people could look at it and see it and view it, and they liked what you were doing. So it was your hard work and effort that you put in. Somebody caught on to it. That's like a little bit of luck. But like Kevin said, it's manufactured luck.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you finished doing that. Now people can go see it online. Are you gonna build more functions into it, or are you actually updating it, or are you focusing on other stuff?
I would say that I'm incrementally updating it, very, very tiny. For example, I have plans to add a file system to it, file system, Finder, maybe a terminal that could be powered by web containers. Maybe I'm not giving any.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yes. So for those who are not aware, web containers is this little node in a browser technology by StackBlitz, and what it does, you can literally run Vite in your browser. So I have plans of, like, you have a real VS Code, and you have Safari, and you have a terminal. You start the process in terminal, web containers start. The preview is in the browser. You can drag all of the windows around, just like how you do in real on your computers. So I have those.
Sounds amazing.
I wonder if you could package a web browser somehow and run Safari inside.
Oh my gosh! Run Safari inside of Chrome, or like
probably not possible at the moment, but Yeah.
I
Just an iframe. It's just an iframe, isn't it?
It's just an iframe.
Oh, right.
It's just an iframe.
Well, you would still have to like remake all of the toolbars and all of that stuff, right? You want it to look exactly the same. So you could do like a fake version, but
even
it's not as fun.
Yeah.
StackBlitz itself was only supported in Chrome until pretty recently, right? I think now it has Firefox support, but Safari is still not quite there. We had Eric Simons on another podcast recently, and he was talking about how they're actually working with like the working groups and trying to get these things implemented so that StackBlitz can be ran in multiple browsers.
Yeah. Yeah, I think some people have some issues with web container stuff because they think it's entirely open source, but I don't think it is, right? It's you still have to interact with like a StackBlitz API. If I
There's some,
remember
I
correctly.
think there's some binary part to it or something that has to download. I think I don't know if it's fully not open source. There's some nuance around how it can be supported. I think I'm not quite sure what it is though.
Maybe Puru knows, the intern there. I don't know.
That's true.
Well, okay, so I think I'm allowed to disclose this part based on the NDA. So yeah, so there is still some requests going to stackblitz.com. That is closed source definitely, and the real binary stuff that is still closed source, but that's pretty much it. So you can think of it as interacting with the Stripe API. Like Stripe is not going to give you all of the money moving logic for open source. So but it gives you an interface to interact with that logic. It's sort of like that.
Yeah. I think the thing is that the naming of it is so really sounds like one of those, APIs that are in the browser, right? Web containers. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it
sounds
does.
like it really does sound like one of those. So they really nail it with the naming there.
I feel like it's kind of the goal though.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Anyway, let's continue. You have a bunch of fun projects that you've made. So you also made a project called Neo Confetti. Is that what it's called, or is it just Svelte Confetti? What's the name of
fun
it?
thing, it started as Svelte Confetti Explosion, and now it's just Neo Confetti.
Why did you change it from this awesome name, Svelte Confetti Explosion? That sounds awesome.
So basically I have this another project called Neo Drag, and that itself was Svelte Drag once. I named it.
Right. So you wanted to make them under the same brand, kind of.
Yes, exactly. Because Svelte Drag, you can use this in multiple frameworks. In fact, I literally have 5 bindings to use it in different frameworks, all of them. And I have the same plans with Neo Confetti. Right now, it works in only Svelte. I've not made another bindings, but that will come soon.
Yeah. So Neo Drag. Maybe the name is kind of self-explanatory, but to explain what it is, it's basically a package that lets you shoot confetti on your website.
Yeah.
You said Neo Drag, and then you said the confetti. Neo Drag is the drag and drop one, right?
Sorry. Yeah. Neo Confetti. Sorry. All these names. Oh.
I know. There's so many packages.
Neo Confetti. Yeah. Which is pretty self-explanatory, right? But then you mentioned you also have another package called Neo Drag, and this is I think this is like the first package that you made that you've also made available in other frameworks, right?
Yes.
So maybe you can talk a bit about what Neo Drag is before we head into that direction.
Sure. So Neo Drag is basically a Svelte action that I created almost an year ago to use in my macOS thing. So if you use an operating system, you can see that you can drag your windows around by clicking on the title bar area. Every operating system needs that, and mine also did. Problem is there was no dragging library that suited my need when I was trying to make when I was trying to make my macOS in Svelte. So I put aside another 1 or 2 days and created this whole library. So what I did, there's this very good library in React ecosystem called React Draggable. I looked at the source code, fully understood it, and then just wrote it all in a plain vanilla JS fashion that I could. And that became Svelte Drag. And after a while, I realized, Svelte, it is just a Svelte actions, and Svelte actions are just vanilla JS. Like this doesn't
Yep.
this does not need to be Svelte drag. It could be React drag. It could be Vue drag. It could be Solid drag, and God forbid maybe Angular drag as well. But it could be all of them. So then I realized, okay, there's place for rebranding, and so I renamed it to NeoDrag. There was a lot of problems with that. The npm downloads, they dropped, and they are still dropped, but they are slowly picking up. And but one of the good advantages of that was, like, now I can make multiple packages under this NeoDrag name. It is sort of a brand at this point, that okay, if it is NeoDrag, even if it is Svelte or React or Vue, doesn't matter. You know that it will work no matter which framework you are using. In fact, you could download all of them, use them in Astro, different components, and they would all work the exact same.
Yeah.
I have actually tested that, so I can say they will actually work the exact same. The API itself is same, behavior is same, everything. Oh, and for those of you who do not know, the NeoDrag Svelte version is only 1.7 kilobytes in size. So
Wow.
That's pretty
it's
good.
pretty non-existent.
Tiny.
you could say.
That is really tiny. And I mean, all of that makes sense to me from like a marketing perspective. I wonder if it's just taking time for it to pick up, like for people to
Yeah,
realize that it's the same package and just rebranded. And
Yeah. I wonder if that'd be kind of like if you could. Ooh, I wonder if you could have adapters kind of for maybe not adapters, but imagine writing an action once and then compiling it into a React version, a Solid version, or a Svelte version, or whatever. Maybe that could be a fun feature of like a, I don't know if it would be built into Svelte, or I don't know.
Like a cross compilation almost.
Yeah, exactly. Since it's just vanilla JavaScript anyway.
like Svelte package, but for actions into,
Yeah.
oh, mitosis. You could use, I bet you could use mitosis for something like that.
Yeah. Could check that out. I don't know. Have you thought about the idea of like automating the conversion from Svelte to some other? I guess it's just about like you have to have bindings to the other frameworks, right? Is that how it worked, Puru?
Yeah. So
how?
So I did think of maybe automating this, but then I realized if I'm writing it by hand, I can make it the absolute smallest possible that I could.
Right.
Whereas if I write a generic adapter, it will have a lot of unnecessary stuff. So and keeping the packages small is my highest priority. So I might as well just do the extra work, but I just want the final experience to feel like you are getting really, really good functionality for literally no cost. That's what I want the experience to feel like.
Oh, that makes sense. All right. So that's NeoDrag. The website you've made for NeoDrag is pretty cool as well, by the way. If you haven't seen it, go into it. I really like these kind of documentation websites where you can actually play around with what the package does. So NeoDrag is a library for dragging things around, right?
Yes.
And you have all these examples of how you can use it and what options there are and all of this stuff. I think more documentation sites should be like this. Obviously, it doesn't work for all kinds of tooling, right? This is a very visual kind of library, so it makes sense to kind of show it like this. But yeah.
Imagine this kind of website for Vite, but powered
Yeah,
by web
like-
containers. That would be the best thing ever.
Yeah, but how would you show these things, right? Like I mean, you could start containers, right, and run all of the different functionality, but it would be kind of a bit too much. I think like your website for NeoDrag is just enough to show you like what the library does and but it doesn't complicate things. Vite's feature set, I feel like it's so big. Like you would have to have so many different, like even going to the Vite documentation right now, it's pretty,
there's just so much.
Yeah.
Yes, I've been reading the documentation for over 2 years, and I don't think I've fully read it ever. Like, there's so much there. It's sort of like the roll-up docs.
Yeah, I mean, compare. Actually, maybe it's not that big, the documentation for. Anyway, so tangent. Let's move on.
I have a side note tangent also. So your link for
go for
Neo
it.
Confetti is your npm link is going to your old Svelte Confetti explosion one that's deprecated.
Shock.
Oh, I mean, that's not a problem. It will redirect you to the new one.
It does?
Does it not?
Where?
I think it should. That's a GitHub feature.
It's not. It's taking me to the npm Svelte Confetti explosion page, and there's no link to the new.
Oh, okay. I have to fix that. Thank you.
All right. So continuing on in the Neo brand here, you've teased a bit on Twitter a way of using Svelte and React. What's this thing? What is that?
I have. So okay. So before I move on, I just have a question for my three fellow people here. What do you think of this idea?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to use React at all. So
Are you talking
there's that.
about like Svelte, the markup instead of JSX, but you still have
So
to use hooks?
No. So mine approach is more like it's more like WebAssembly. It is its own isolated functionality itself. So you write your isolated code and then you import it in your React code.
Oh, okay.
It's
So you
sort
could
of like
use
that.
Svelte components inside of React.
Exactly. You just import them like you do React components.
That would be interesting. Kind of like
what I-
Astro allows you to do different
Exactly.
languages.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea. I think, would you encounter issues with? I think reactivity would be a hard solve in that case. I think that's where it might be difficult, because the way that React and Vue, maybe not so much Vue, but to an extent, but people write these libraries that just wrap other libraries for them because of all that wiring stuff. That's quite, I guess, it's specific to the underlying library. I feel like Svelte allows you to do that because it doesn't have that weird mapping. And I think if you were to do the same thing with React, you would have to find a way to map all of the stuff. Like you can translate Svelte things to React things easily, but it's everything else that wraps around that Svelte just kind of gets for free. It's hard to explain, but I think you would end up finding compatibility issues. I don't know. It's worth an experiment though.
Yes.
So I think you have an example here for us, right?
Exactly, but oh damn! I forgot to explain what it is. So currently, it is just a Vite plugin. You import this, you put it in your Vite plugins configuration. You import NeoSvelte from @neosvelte/React. You import it, you call it, and then you start your dev server. Now, in the dev server, how you work with it? Step 1, create a Svelte component. Create a Svelte component. So maybe it is an app.svelte file. Inside that you would have a basic counter, animation, or a really the complete macOS doc. You could have a complete macOS doc in that just built with Svelte. And then what you do, you go to one of your .jsx files, and in that you do import app from // or whatever the path to that Svelte file is, // and then just at the end you put a question mark React. That's an additional thing in the URL. You put a question mark React,
Yeah. So
and then in your markup.
question
Sure.
here.
Sorry.
Yeah, so this question mark React that tells your Vite plugin to take the Svelte code and convert it somehow, or how does what's maybe you're getting to this point. Sorry.
Yeah. So I'll answer your question. But continuing on, you have imported the component, and how you call the JSX components, you just put the you just put the angular brackets app, and then you close it. You do the exact same thing here with the imported Svelte component, and it just works. That's the whole premise of it. You just import the Svelte file, you just put a question mark React at the end. And as to answering Kevin's question, how it works, it literally just converts your Svelte code to plain JS using the Svelte compiler, and just injects a little bit of React code to call that, because a compiled Svelte component is just a class that you can call. That is literally it is.
Yep. Oh, that's pretty cool. Looking at the example here, you have we have a component and another component, and you're just using them like you would use any React component, right? So that's pretty cool.
Yes, and if you look at the example, okay, so right now it is commented out, but it also works with React's lazy. So React allows you to code split your code using their lazy. So you write lazy, and then inside it you dynamically import your component. You can do the exact same thing, and it works. So one of the experimentation you could do, just to check the bundle sizes, you can lazily import your components in that way, and then check the final bundle sizes that Vite tells you. And okay, for the viewers cannot see this, but currently the example, it is using a two-int store, a string store, and a blur transition. So transition in Svelte where when an element is created, it fades in, or it flies in, or it just blurs out of nowhere. Right now, this whole example, it is blurring in, and it is just moving around in the most smoothest fashion that only Svelte allows you to do. And all of that is inbuilt in Svelte. The final bundle size that this gives you, just about the Svelte part, is 3 kilobytes, which is far more than other React libraries with which you would achieve the same functionality. Like with Frame and Motion, if you want to do all of this, it would not be less than 25 kilobytes.
Oh,
so you just
nice.
save yourself
you could
a lot of code, a lot of bundle size.
Oh, so one use case for this would be maybe you could just use a Svelte component to wrap some other React code to get the transition parts or something like that.
Yes. So when I was creating this, that was literally my thought process, that this thing using Svelte and React could be same as using WebAssembly in JavaScript, because you cannot do some very computationally intense things in JavaScript, but WebAssembly makes it very easy. This is similar for things like animation, performance-oriented work, data visualization, in which Svelte excels at. You can just create this one-off component, import it within your React, and boom, it just works, and it's faster. And one advantage of this architecture is all the state that is being managed in Svelte stays within Svelte. React is not even touching your state, so it is going to be much faster than your adjacent React code.
Right.
That's a huge advantage.
So that would mean like the React components aren't re-rendering and all of that stuff.
Not at all.
Right? Yeah. No, this is cool. It's kind of like a Trojan horse kind of thing. So you're just like, here, use this to improve the performance of your React project by using Svelte transitions. And then people start using it and they're like, maybe we should just continue using Svelte.
Another
instead.
infiltration of Svelte into React land.
Yeah.
Okay.
We need more of these.
I would just like to add a small thing. Kev, for this year's Svelte Summit, I was going to give a talk titled Trojanizing React with Svelte. So you actually
I think that's a great idea.
I love it.
Yeah. You should definitely submit that.
Awesome.
Here's a quick word from our sponsor.
Vercel is the platform for front-end developers, providing the speed and reliability innovators need to create at the moment of inspiration. Founded by the creators of Next.js, Vercel has zero configuration support for 35 plus front-end frameworks, including SvelteKit. We enable the world's largest brands like Under Armour, eBay, and Nintendo to iterate faster and create quality software. Try out Vercel today to experience the easiest way to use Svelte.
All right, cool. So these are some cool projects. And I guess from this, your next idea came about, which is like a Svelte component CDN.
You're gonna have to explain this one to me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What is a Svelte component CDN?
All right. So before I explain, I would like to say that this came to me while daydreaming in an extremely boring class. So if I explain and it sounds very, very weird, please don't judge me.
Puru, I think I think you should be bored more often.
Yeah.
It kind of sounds like every time you get bored, you
great
just
ideas.
create something something nice.
Really productive boredom. It's great.
Sorry, continue.
Yeah, so this idea came to me then only, so please don't judge me too harshly when I say it out. So currently my thought process is this. So basically components compiled with Svelte are in extremely good standalone libraries of their own. They do not need an external runtime. They are pretty much self-sufficient and they're really, really small. So here the idea was, what if you could what if you have constraints where you cannot use a bundler at all, where you have to do things the old jQuery way, like just write everything in one index.html, JS inside that, no compiler, no bundler, nothing at all. And in those kind of cases, you would see that CDNs are used quite a lot. For example, Bootstrap CDN, ajax.googleapis.com, all of those CDNs are used much more than just locally hosting it. So in that case, what if you want to use, I don't know, Svelte confetti in your plain HTML app? What you could do, assuming confetti is a component and not an action, so you cannot directly use it. Assuming this one is okay, confetti is not a good idea. How about a slider, a Svelte slider? So you cannot directly use it in any way. You have skeleton UI slider, you cannot use it directly. However, what you could do, you could take a CDN, I don't know, neo-svelte-cdn.dev / you give it the GitHub URL of the Svelte file. What the CDN does, it just takes the file, transpiles it removes all the TypeScript, it converts Svelte down to the plain JS, and it gives you just a class slider that you can call in your plain JS code in your HTML file. That, and not just that, you could do the same with Vue. Like Vue is very, very tiny, and I really like Vue. So I really think just giving this to Svelte wouldn't be fair. Like we need to give some more competition to Vue. So at the same time, Vue will also be supported, and maybe even Solid at some point. Solid would be just transpiling it down to plain JS from JSX. I don't know. The idea doesn't sound as good when I say it out, but the Svelte part, I think it sounds solid. Pun totally unintended. Totally unintended.
Yeah. So I guess this is kind of like. So one thing I was thinking as you were talking about this is that there is already some kind. What's the CDN where you can get all of the packages? There's a what's it called?
JS Deliver.
Yes. So I think you can already get the so when you publish a Svelte package, I think SvelteKit publishes it as a JavaScript file as well.
Oh no, it is just a .svelte file. It does not.
It's a .svelte, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I know there was some talk some time ago. Maybe I'm misremembering that when you compile, like for example, a library that it like spits out a JavaScript file that any project would be able to use. I'm not sure about that though.
And took that built file and then published that somehow, but like if you use Svelte package and you publish that way, it is just .svelte. So you have to import that into a Svelte project.
Okay, sure. Okay. Yeah, then it would make sense, right? You would just point it to a Svelte file and it would convert it or compile it, I guess, to JavaScript.
Exactly, pretty much.
I wonder if you could even take like the JavaScript that is built already, like if you build your component, you take that built file and then you put that on a CDN. Is that not like what ESM is? Like you have a URL that you can hit that is a package? That's kind
of my point, I guess, with the like if you build the package to JavaScript as well and not just leave it as a Svelte file, then you would already be able to use it, right? Because it would exist in a JavaScript form as well. So maybe this is like if you wanted to use some specific Svelte file in some kind of project that doesn't expose the specific Svelte file, maybe. I don't know. I think it's
If I understand question correctly, sorry, as far as I know, there is no plan to, in Svelte package to move it to .js, just because the thought process that I got from the maintainers is that future versions of Svelte can transpile the .svelte even more efficiently. So
Yep.
if you're going to compile it yourself now, maybe 1 year later, some other library using it won't be able to use it properly. So that is the
Right.
idea that I've heard. So Svelte package is not going the .js way. So it is up to the community, the ecosystem, like I don't know, to some CDN to do that for you.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like an idea worth exploring, right? Just being able to like convert on the fly to between, like if you wanted to use some very high quality view library in Svelte even, right? Then you could maybe, I mean, in Svelte it would be easy, right? You would just wrap the result from the CDN in an action and then attach it somewhere. Or whatever.
Yes, that would be good. And another idea I had, in the CDN URL, you just put React at the end and gives you a React component of that. So literally new Svelte, but on CDN.
Using query parameters
Yes.
to interesting.
That could be fun. Yeah. Sounds like a very hard thing to build though. Like
How
I guess it's
work.
mitosis.
Yeah, sort of.
But with a CDN, I wonder, does mitosis have an API? Could you already do this convert between projects?
So would you mind if I talk about mitosis and some of the other things that could be compared?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, so mitosis is actually pretty great. Mitosis is sort of like you just write Svelte component and it just uses some AI thing to write it to React. It's not AI, but it feels like you just fed it to ChatGPT and then it gave you the React component. It sort of feels like that. Mitosis is great. Problem is, I do not see transitions in mitosis. Transitions or the really cool Svelte APIs. A lot of the Svelte APIs that you import rather than the ones built into the templating itself. So that's one of my things.
Right.
Otherwise, okay. If, in future, if mitosis ever gets transitions and all of the Svelte features, I'm deprecating this project. Then there's no point pursuing something like this after that.
Right.
Does Sveltosis, the Svelte version of it, do that? Because they've integrated that now into the mitosis project.
Yes, Sveltosis, exactly.
Does it do the transitions and stuff that you're looking for, or no?
I do not think so. I tried, but I do not think you can import the Svelte libraries, as far as I know.
I see. So you can't import anything, maybe. Is that,
as far as I know, because
let's
it does not have Svelte's runtime in any way. It is literally just reading it and writing a line by line to React or Vue or Angular, and they do not have the same APIs. Like this,
I see.
You can imagine that to some extent in Vue, but just try imagine doing a Svelte transitions example in React without any external libraries. You just can't.
Well, what you should do, I just went to their GitHub and it says they're actively looking for folks interested in becoming contributors. So you should contribute back to mitosis. Maybe Builder.io will give you a job. That's your next job.
Yeah, that would be a fun one because some of the people working there, Adam Bradley, Manu Martinez, Almeida. Some of them are like sort of my what's that sort of. I really admire those people because of Stencil.js. Their work on Stencil.js, and Stencil.js is a very underrated thing.
Mm-hmm. And Mishko, who was Angular and is now Quick, works there. Yeah.
Stencil is that the web component thing?
Yes, that is. In fact, one time I was this kind of fun story. I kind of had let's say a small fight with Rich Harris on Twitter back in 2020 because I was so sold on web components. I don't think web components are that great for building a whole app now, but that time I thought, and I had a Twitter banter on with Rich Harris on Twitter. I wonder if I can find it somehow.
Yeah, he doesn't like web components at all.
I don't really love web components because the API is just awful to use. And I think there's like ongoing issues with the Shadow DOM not exposing like some of the things that you need to do certain stuff. So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's hard to server side, or you can't server side render them.
Yeah, that's a big one, right? I think for like, I haven't used web components that much, so
I haven't either, but my limited experience with them was very negative.
right, this doesn't bode well.
So writing web components raw or even with lit is not a great experience. With stencil.js is actually pretty good. It's sort of like you're writing the class-based React. It is far better than raw web
That
components.
does not sound good. That doesn't sound better.
I mean, it is good. At that time, it felt good. Now with having done Svelte, I will not go back to it at all.
Yeah.
But it was good.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you can write web components in Svelte, so there's that's actually possible. You just have to turn on the option.
Have it compile, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Can I talk about just one more thing, one project that I'm doing?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah,
So
for
this
sure.
one is going to make many people very happy. So I'm officially working on the Svelte.dev revamp. It's getting a dark mode and multiple pages documentation.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
yes.
So it's going to be a multi-page
That's
app
awesome.
instead of a single-page app.
Yep.
Sweet.
Using SvelteKit? Maybe it already is using SvelteKit.
Yeah, it already uses SvelteKit, and of course there will be search functionality and everything. So I am working on it right now, and it should be out sometime. I will not say when it will be out. That's up to the maintainers, but I would say it is coming along pretty well.
That's great. It really needs a revamp. Well, it kind of needs an update to the Kit documentation standards.
To the same thing that Kit is doing now. And I haven't completely caught up on the dev vlog episode that you did with Rich, but were they talking at all about the things that they need to do before Svelte 4?
No, so I think they're actually working on Svelte 4 at the moment.
I don't.
From
I was talking to someone and they were saying that before they can work on Svelte 4, maybe it was Anthony last week, we were talking about the Svelte 4 milestones, and that before they can do that, they need to get it migrated to a PNPM monorepo and set up the same way that the Kit. Yeah.
Right. So I think that's one of the, I guess that would be one of the milestones for Svelte 4. We didn't talk that much about Svelte 4, but it's basically like getting rid of very old dependencies and stuff. So I think it's gonna, I think they're gonna be pretty fast on the Svelte 4 stuff.
Yeah.
We'll see. Hopefully
That was something we talked
next
about
month.
last week.
Yeah. So next dev vlog stream thing in April, maybe I'll ask him some questions about this.
Awesome.
Some more detail.
We haven't talked about the dev vlog. I think we left that for you to talk about, so you should talk about that
Oh, right. Yeah.
too.
So I've started doing a developer vlog thing with Rich and hopefully some of the other maintainers as well, that we do once a month on YouTube, and I'll put a link in the show notes to the first one. And we're going to do it once a month. The first Wednesday of every month is the idea. And the time, it's let's see. I mean, why do I even try?
Time is
telling
always
the time?
difficult,
Like
yeah.
it's 4:30 Central European time, so that would be like, I don't know, 10, 11 a.m. in on the East Coast in the US or something.
It's always going to be at the same time every month.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then
That's the idea.
This Week in Svelte is now being recorded, and that was
Yes.
posted and published for the first time this week to the YouTube channel. So that's new.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna put a link in the notes to that as well. And yeah, that happens once a week, right? And it's alternating times, right? For the it's either more for the European people or for the US people, kind of.
It was alternating. Let me see. The one this week is the early one, so 9:30 a.m. for me. But
So that would be the more European.
yes, centric one, and then the next week will be the later one, and it's 3 hours later than the other one.
Yep. And so maybe can you explain what happens in this week in Svelte?
Yeah, so Enrico does a great job of kind of going over what's been in the Discord, what is changes that have happened in Svelte and SvelteKit over the week, questions that people are asking repeatedly or things that he sees that come up, and then he will go over and show REPL examples or like describe like how these things are supposed to work and just go into detail, and it really sparks some like interesting conversations, and there's been lots of different topics. I mean, it's always like covering a wide array of things. It's been very interesting, and I'm glad
it seems to be very well received as well.
Yeah, and I'm really glad that they're being recorded now and are able to like be viewed later. I think that was the problem in the beginning, was that not everyone could attend, and I could hit like some of them and not all of it, and I'm really glad to be able to go back and watch it now.
Same.
Welcome back, Anthony.
Speaking of,
Thank you.
Anthony's back. Hello. So all right, let's talk about your thing here that you put in. The virtual DOM is not pure overhead. The blog post.
So yes,
what's this about?
So on Twitter, I think it's one of the quick devs, one of the core team, has posted a tweet which is is exactly paraphrasing Rich Harris's talk about virtual DOM is pure overhead. And if you that blog post is still live on the Svelte site, if you read into it, it's kind of common sense stuff. It is pure overhead because you might be manipulating something that's theoretically faster, but one, you've still got to write to the DOM, so you're still writing to the DOM. And the second thing is that you are diffing between a virtual DOM and a real DOM to understand the difference in order to determine what to render. So it's designed as an optimization because you only be rendering parts of the DOM, but ultimately you're still rendering the same DOM, and the diffing is a mass overhead. So it was, and to my mind, to our mind, it still is pure overhead. You don't need a virtual DOM. It is going to be slower than writing to DOM directly. Svelte's principle is surgically updated DOM, and that still stands true in my mind. That if you're making specific updates to the DOM, you're doing it really quickly, and there's nothing going to be faster than that. However, this tweet was a direct rebuttal to that post, so I'll be interested to see what it is, but I'm not going to hold my breath, as it were.
I would be interested to read it too, because Quick doesn't use a virtual DOM, as far as I know. They do a similar thing with Svelte to reactivity.
Yeah. Well, see, I don't know what the premise of the post is all about, but there you go.
And then Ryan Carniato's like in the thread, as per usual, like everything is overhead.
Yeah.
So.
And he's not wrong. He's not wrong. And that's kind of like, that's the crux of the blog post, right? Is everything is overhead. And like, I know that this hinges on pure overhead, right? There might be reasons to use a virtual DOM. The interesting thing from the blog post is what are those things that are interesting, that are that make a case for the virtual DOM, let's say. And I guess, it could be silly things like CSS isolation or whatever, but come on.
Yeah, right. So we're waiting on that article, because it seems, so it's a poll.
Should I write the article?
That has gotten 82% yes. Or
Said
do it, I guess.
So there you go.
Yeah. So I just realized there was I don't know if you talked about this last week, the new type stuff in SvelteKit.
The new type stuff in SvelteKit.
Maybe not.
Anything to do with types, I will not know about.
No, it doesn't sound like you...
No, we did not talk about that.
All right, let's talk about that, because there's actually a blog post on the Svelte website about this. It's the title is Zero Effort Type Safety. And it's a feature that Simon has been spearheading, and it's basically you don't have to import your types anymore.
Oh.
It's just done automatically. So instead of doing like import $types import
the weird types that we get in SvelteKit.
Page data from
all of that is inferred
question.
from SvelteKit now.
Yep.
Which is,
and now you don't have to,
feels like the way it should be.
Yep. So that's a huge win for developer experience.
Yes,
I feel like
that's great.
And that's pretty much it. If you want to read the blog post, I can recommend it.
And that's in
good.
any file, right? Not just a routes file.
That I do not know. I think it's just like, so it just infers the stuff for the data prop,
Yeah.
right? So if you pass things down from the page file to another component, you should be fine as well.
Okay.
Like it should have the types. I think
I wish
how
types
to
would just be auto
TypeScript.
imported for me. I hate importing types, like in general.
Yeah, same. Yeah, maybe they'll keep working on this, and we can just write, create me an app, and
Yes,
we'll have
in
ChatGPT do it for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
GPT 4.0 is out now. I saw something today on
Yeah.
Twitter about a Svelte Chat GPT thing is coming soon.
Oh yeah, I saw that as well. It's going to be fun. But yeah, I think that's it for the topics. Puru, is there anything else you want to talk about before we move on to the unpopular opinions?
Sure. I just remember I skipped over two things. First of all, there are many implementations to do the same things, and they vary in they vary in how they do it. Some of them they generate entire files. Some of them they're runtime. Mine is completely memory based, and the second thing, it will be type safe. So you just import the component, and you get all the props and events and everything right there.
Yeah.
And it will.
So you're talking about Svelte component CDN now, right?
No. Neo Svelte.
Neo Svelte.
Svelte, yes.
Neo Svelte. Okay.
Yes, it will be completely type safe. You will not lose any of that, which is the feature compared to the other implementations. That's one thing. And the second one is why I want to make this. I already said it. I wanted to be a WebAssembly in React, but honestly, I do not work in React. I do not want to work in React. So why am I making this? Simple question. It is completely selfish. I just want there to be more Svelte in world. So when I get the new job, Svelte is a high probability. This is literally selfish. That's where the whole plan came from. I want more Svelte in the world. I want more companies to be using Svelte because, well, first of all, Svelte rocks. It just rocks. You should be using Svelte.
Absolutely.
And that is my purpose. I just want more Svelte in the world. But that's it.
No, that makes sense. All right. So, since Anthony is back, we can now talk about his unpopular opinion while he's eating some kind of measuring device.
It is a caliper.
Oh,
Okay.
caliper. Yeah.
I'm using it as a thought
Also known
tool.
as measuring device. All right. So, let's hear it.
Right. So it's just an observation because there's a lot of debate, at least on my Twitter feed, about cycling and active travel and all that kind of stuff. Cyclists are not obliged to cycle in the cycle lane, and that rule makes a lot of sense. You know, if there's one available, and it makes a lot of sense because a lot of cycle lanes are crap, right? They're just absolute nonsense design. They run into lampposts, walls. They throw you out onto dual carriageways and stuff like that.
Walls?
Right? So there's a reason. Yeah, like some of them are just really. Some of them are there just for the sake of saying we have a cycle lane. They're not actually usable. And it happens more often than you'd think, and there's loads of photos of just ridiculous things that happened. There's one just up the river from me that runs directly into a wall, so you know I understand why people won't want to use those. And there's ones where you're cycling along and you can't get on it from where you are because there's a massive curb in the way. Like I'm looking there, cycling along the road, looking at the cycle lane, wondering how nice it would be to cycle on it, but I can't actually get to it.
Just activate the bike wings and fly.
Exactly.
Easy.
Yeah, if I had a mountain bike with suspension, maybe I'd give it a go, but I don't have a road bike. So, yeah, I understand there's reasons for it. However, we have also some, on the flip side, some really, really good cycling infrastructure, and there's segregated cycle lanes which are getting more and more use. They're full of people. It's really good, really nice, and I can happily cycle around London and not interact with cars at all, which is great because a lot of drivers are crap, right? And dangerous. So it's good that these things are here. And I often still see people, because they're not obliged to use them, I see people just there cycling in the middle of the road, holding all the cars up, and nothing annoys me more. It's equally as bad as the bad drivers, right? Because all you're doing is angering people, angering drivers, making them say, give them a case to say that cycle lanes are useless or not used or whatever, riling up, hard feeling between people who cycle and people who drive and all that kind of stuff. And it's just a horrendous thing that the amount of fights and arguments that go on, and councillors threatening to rip cycle lanes out and stuff. We don't need a bunch of militant cyclists who've decided that they're too good for cycle lanes to go and stir up even more problems. And so it really irritates me. So my opinion is they're dickheads. I mean, I don't know whether I haven't got more creative words for that. But.
like an entitlement thing. Like they
It
feel
is.
like they're entitled to do that. And I don't think this is an unpopular opinion. Here we
is,
don't have like a lot of
surprisingly.
dedicated cycle lanes. We have really good sidewalks and
Yeah.
walking areas, but then they're not supposed to be on that. So they have to be
Yeah.
in the road, which I despise. It like you can't get around them. It's dangerous for them. It's dangerous
Yeah.
for you. It's like it's just
Yeah.
a bad scenario.
Yeah, it's a bad scenario. That's it, and it is entitlement. It's people doing it. There's only two reasons I can imagine. One is that the cycle lane's bad, and that's fair enough. That's a problem you've got to solve by making improved cycle infrastructure. The other reason is just because you're arrogant, or you're entitled, or you're trying to prove a point, or you think you're too fast for a cycle lane, and you don't want to get blocked by other people. None of those reasons are good reasons, and it just pisses me off. Really irritates me. And I would not be on the side of the cyclist if that cyclist got knocked off. Not that I'm encouraging anything like that, but if that cyclist got knocked off, I'd be with the driver saying, look, they shouldn't have been where they were. There's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
They were given the safety net and
I-
they didn't use it.
I think this is a popular opinion.
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised the amount of videos I see on Twitter, people doing it and saying, yes, but I'm not obliged to be in the cycle lane. That's
Oh,
the
right.
point. It's not the point.
Yeah. They're what we call over here paragraph writers.
Okay.
I don't think that translates well. So it's basically, people that follow the rules or the laws to the point, like to the dot, and
To make a
they
point.
like do not to make a point, and they do not deviate from it.
Yeah, it's just, that's it.
Yeah.
Paragraph.
Yeah.
I'm going to shout paragraph at them. Hey, question actually, Kev. Whilst I was in Sweden, I noticed a moped driving down the segregated cycle lane.
Yeah.
Is that normal?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what kind of moped. Like, it could be classed as a I don't know what the differences, what they're called.
Probably
but
below
like,
50cc or something.
Yes, it's something like that, or like there's a specific speed limit or something, and they're like, I think there are rules depending on like what the road conditions are, like if there's a wide enough. I don't know.
Interesting. That's
And
not allowed
also
here.
some people just don't care, and
Yeah, that's because that's why my assumption was that this person's doing is not following
be-
the rules kind of thing.
could be some combination of things as well.
Yeah,
I'm not an
interesting.
expert in moped law, so I'm going to pass on this one.
Yeah, they're banned here. You can't cycle in the cycle. You can't ride a moped in it or anything powered. I think in the cycle lane apart from electric.
Yep. All right, Brittany, you want to share yours?
So my unpopular opinion, and it may not be very unpopular in the Svelte ecosystem, but I think Storybook is doing a good job of marketing and saying like, oh, we support SvelteKit now. And like they're doing a lot of work and a lot of good things. And Ben McCann has been helping them to get some things integrated into Storybook for SvelteKit. But I still don't think it's quite there. And things that are missing are like slots. Like you cannot do a slot in a storybook file. So if you're trying to do a story that has multiple components that need to be kind of composed together, the workaround is to create a .svelte file, do all of that, and then import that as a story file. But then it just really doesn't like match very well, and you don't get the same functionality. And then archetypes are still like something that you have to be explicit about. So when you're all of your props in your component, you have to list them explicitly in Storybook for the top level component and for each variant of that component. So each story you want to write, you have to like specify those, and it feels just so repetitive and so overly like every time I've used Storybook, I just feel like this. Like I just have to write a lot of stuff for it to do what I want.
Right. You have to write very long stories, novels maybe.
Yes,
rather
novels,
than
and I really don't like writing. So
yeah. So it sounds like the DX could be improved a bit there.
the DX
But it
is
works,
improved, but
right?
they have people on it and they're very responsive. So I'm in the Storybook thing, even in the Svelte Discord, like they're in our Discords, like helping us and doing those things. So they're working on it. They're doing a really good job. It's just not there yet.
All right. Hopefully it does get there at some point.
Yes.
All right, Puru. Let's hear your very, very strong unpopular opinion. What's
I think we just talked about his, right? Did we do yours like before Anthony came back?
Oh, maybe we did. No,
No, I did not get the chance yet.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
no.
Yeah. So before I go forward with this, I would like to say that I daydreamed this one in another boring class. So again, no hard judgments, please. Okay, I would sort of say that the whole new Svelte is sort of like an unpopular opinion in itself, because I posted this on Discord and some people were like, why would you do this? And I get that. But what about this? You use React components in Svelte the same way.
No.
So,
You
No.
import
No.
React in Svelte and you call it the Svelte way.
but wouldn't you need React to run the React components? I wouldn't want to do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I would not want to do that either, but I want to see
Yeah.
a GitHub repository where someone is doing that. I just want to see that. It is not an unpopular opinion, it's just an unpopular, extremely sinful thought that I would like to.
Nice.
That's it.
I thought you were going to say that you despised Svelte or something. It sounded like you were going to.
no. That's even horrifying just to hear.
Yeah. No, I'm partly kidding. All right, so we're into the last section of the show. Picks. Do you guys have any? Who wants to go first?
Puru, why don't you go first?
Puru, go.
What's
your
yeah.
pick?
So my pick is Attack on Titan season 4 part 3's first episode came out. It was the best thing of the entire year and maybe even the last year. So please, if you are an Attack on Titan fan and you have not disowned it after season 3, I just implore you, please go watch it. It is the best thing ever in the world.
So Attack on Titan is a manga and an anime, right? So you're talking
Yes.
about the anime here, I guess.
Yes,
I've watched it.
Yes.
I think it's pretty good as well. I haven't seen. I'm not sure if I've seen the last season though, or the last part.
I'm not gonna make this a pick. Like, I can't recommend this show, but what I watched this week is Willow, the remake TV show based on the 1980s movie, and it was so like mediocre that I can't recommend you go watch it.
Yes, I started watching that as well, and I was like, this is so not very good.
Yeah,
Like,
I
it's
got
just
all
like,
the way
why-
to the end, and I was like, it was watchable, but it's like I cannot recommend you go watch it.
Well,
IMDb
Yep.
is 5.6, so we get that.
isn't it funny how like there's inflation in ratings? Like 5 should be average, right?
Oh yeah,
But I wouldn't really go for something that's below 7 unless
Yeah.
I really
Right.
wanted to watch it. But yeah, I don't know.
I don't look at ratings. I should probably start doing that before I watch something.
Yeah, I've been watching. So I can pick mine as well. I have three quick ones. So I have one called Chained Echoes. If you're a fan of Super Nintendo JRPG style games, this is for you. It's very fun. And that's pretty much it for that one. And then I have 2 Apple TV shows. One called Liaison with it's like this show about terrorist attacks in the UK, featuring God, what's her name? I'm so bad with celebrities. Ava Green, is that a name? Anyone? No.
That's a name. I don't know
Yeah.
if it is a person's name.
Yeah. So I think
Evergreen is an
that's
actress.
Yeah. It's an actress. Yeah. So it's a very good show. And then there's another TV show also on Apple TV Plus with Harrison Ford and Jason Segel, which is about they're like psychologists, and it's a comedy show. It's very fun. I'm blanking on the name, but
And while you have Apple TV Plus, Ted Lasso is coming back on soon. Pretty much the
right.
best show ever. Love that show.
yeah. Oh, the show is called Shrinking because they're shrinks. Hey.
Nice. That sounds funny.
It is pretty good. Check it out. All right, I'm done.
Cool.
Anthony?
have a pick?
I don't have any picks this time. No, I don't have any picks.
Oh, well,
I know,
All
it's
right.
crazy.
Unpopular opinions.
Only unpopular opinions.
That ends up being popular opinions.
Yeah.
Well, it depends who you talk to, doesn't it? I suppose.
No, I agree. I'm just joking. All right. So that's it for this show. Puru, it was nice having you on finally after so long. Last time I saw you was at Svelte Summit last year, and it was a blast. Your talk was great as well. We should probably link all of your talks in the show notes, actually, because you've done.
I do have the one from last Svelte Summit, how to migrate React libraries to Svelte in there.
Yep. Cool. You're muted, so we can't hear you.
So I've only done 2, and both of those are for Svelte, so shouldn't be a big deal.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, so thanks for coming on, and we'll talk to you in the future. And goodbye to all of the listeners. This has been Svelte Radio. Thank you for listening. Hey, it's Kavir. If you like the show, please drop a review on your favorite podcast player. It would help out a lot. Thanks.